three API lifecycle stages. Here you can see three API lifecycle stages. The core of API management is the need to serve the full lifecycle of API and enable the associated ecosystem. An API first approach emphasizes the importance of the entire lifecycle by strategically treating APIs as products and managing them as such. The outcome of this approach is well designed, managed, and secured API to serve developer building new experiences. Here are the three distinct stages of this product-centric lifecycle: design, implementation, and management. Design. The first step in API lifecycle is design. When the API is created, designing an API starts with an outside-in perspective, beginning with an interface or contract of API. API developers create a user interface of API first, determining how API look like and behave. This is also known as API contract. This approach is typically referred as an design first approach and should follow the deliberate API design lifecycle to optimize the first best experience. This step must be done in a human readable fashion to specify the contract in a way that developers can easily digest. Design. Identify the process and business requirement, create logical metadata, logical data model, translate into logical service and API groupings. Then simulate. Model API resources, model API operations or methods, model request or response payload or codes. Feedback, mock up the API, publish interactive console, create notebook use cases, receive developer feedbacks, and validate. Modify API design as appropriate based on the developer feedback, continue to validate. Any well-designed API will have repeatability across over the APIs. This can be easily encapsulated into best practice patterns, both at the structural level of the API, nouns, resources, as well as at the method levels, verbs. So an API developer go about the design process. It is important that they can discover and share repeatable patterns. API implementation is critical phase of enabling next generation enterprise. Enabling the connectivity of hundreds or thousands of API to a backend as well as to each other is key. This must be done in the systematic manner as opposed to point-to-point code. The two steps that go into implementation stage are building and testing. A systematic approach to building ensures that the API developer has the following architectural patterns easily available to them: orchestration, transformation, routing, data mapping, connectivity across platforms. Once the API is built, it will go through rounds of API testing to ensure that it is functioning as expected. If the test is completed with no problems, it can move on to next lifecycle stage. But most often the API will go through several rounds of testing and adjusting before moving on to the deployment. Test automation tools are critical here as this integrates into the DevOps process of continuous delivery and deployment. Management. It is critical to ensure your application building blocks are followed best practices in security and architectural governance by applying policies to them at runtime. Monitoring all traffic via an API manager is equally critical because it is just one weak link to bring up ship down. With this lifecycle stage are following steps: secure, deploy, monitor, troubleshoot, and manage. Additionally, these APIs need to be discoverable to be reused for other purposes. The ability to appropriately publish them so the consuming developer can find, research, and understand them easily could make or break your entire program. Here you can see design is connected to simulate, and then simulate is connected to feedback, and feedback is connected to validate, and it's produce a API spec. Sorry, connected to this API spec, and it is gonna this is the design stage, and then the implement design is simulate, feedback, and validate in design stage, and then you can see the build, and build is connected to a test, and build and test are in implementation, and and test is producing service with APIs, and SQL is connected to deploy is connected to monitor is connected to troubleshoot, and troubleshoot connected to manage. And you can see here the service with API, secure, deploy, monitor, and troubleshoot, and manage are in management. Now this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching it.